Here's another very little known fact. I'm disappointed that it's never came out in all the interviews that Eddie did, but I painted Eddie Van Halen's first professional paint job on his wild, crazy red and white crapola.
Yeah?
Because a protege of mine back then went high school friends with him. And he was bugging me to come up to Pasadena to see his buddy's high school band. It was called Mammoth. I'm not driving to Pasadena from Orange County to see some high school band. You know. So then he says, my buddy can't afford it. Would you paint his guitar? I've been bragging about you paint his guitar. He spray painted his. He wants one like it. Bring him down. Little long-haired, skinny kid, don't know from nothing, didn't recall the name, you know. So it's all this zigzaggy stuff, and we're all looking at it like, oh my, like this. Hey, you know. And he brought his Frankenstein guitar. It looked like a junkyard guitar, you know. And he wanted it done. Real polite, real quiet, real polite. So we painted it in just a matter of like an hour, you know. Zim, zam, boom, done lacquer, clear coat it. Here you go. Be careful with it.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, following year or so, 2 years, I'm in the grocery store. And I'm going down with my wife, and I see on the magazine stand, Eddie Van Halen, the new Rockstars. Here's my guitar.
Hey, welcome to Car Guy Confessions, brought to you by ARP. I'm Jeff Smith. This is my car buddy Cam Benty and car builder Steve Strope, and we're going to tell you some stories. So welcome to another episode of Car Guy Confessions with Jeff Smith. This is going to be out of control. I'm just going to tell you this right off the bat. I may not get a word in edgewise. This is really going to be fun. So we planned originally to have Cam Benty over here. That's where he normally sits on this side. Steve Strope sits over here. This is my buddy, Pete Santini. We have been doing stuff together forever. And he brought a mystery guest. Pete's going to introduce him, right? And then that's probably the last word you'll hear from me because this is going to be fun. All right, so let's set the stage now.
Okay.
1979, I am a wet, behind-the-ears CarCraft staffer, and we used to do this page in the magazine every month. It was right up the front. It was called High Risers. And this literally was, people were calling the magazine and saying, how do I get into high risers? And our answer was always exactly the same. There's one rule. And they said, okay, what is it? Don't ask. oh. You know, it's like, no. I mean, we have to decide. I mean, if you're going to lobby on us, you're not going to make it. So I'm brand new at the magazine, and they said, well, there's this painter down in Orange County, and go down and get a picture of him because we want to make him a high riser because he's doing some really cool stuff down there. Okay, we put him in there, and that was the beginning of it.
That was it.
But who was the high riser before that, though?
Would that be our mystery guest?
Is he starting already? Okay, I'll turn his freaking mic off right now.
Already started.
He's a guest.
It's
That's it.
Already started. So I want Pete to introduce him because he said, I got to introduce this guy, right? Okay, so take it away, buddy.
Thank you, my good friend Jeff. First of all, I don't know whether or not to thank you for a 45-year career of going, can I pay the mortgage? What's going to be for dinner this weekend? Do I have gas money? Business. But thank you for doing that for me. We have been good. And I got the infamous white steering wheel that I've been wanting since the 80s.
So we have to tell that story.
Okay, yeah. You tell because you know more of the history of the white steering. But this is going to be the only word you get in anyway.
That's
so go
it.
ahead.
Then it'll be the last part. So 1979, start the magazine. I bring my girlfriend to California with him. Our families are abhorred that we're living together, right? And my father, who by that time had been married 3 times, was absolutely on my case about it, which was like, but Dad. Anyway, so the deal was we're going to get married in 1980, a year later. So about 3-4 months before we decided to get married in May, I bring my car down to Pete, and I said, I want you to paint my car so I have a nice car when I get married. And he takes one look at it. So it's a Marina Blue 66 big block 4-speed Chevelle, which now has a small block in it. And I'd had a really nice steering wheel. It was one of those wood steering wheels with the steel rim. Well, in Southern California, you fry your hands when the car sits outside, right? So I just found this junky old white steering wheel because it had a white interior. I bring the car down to Pete. He says, I'll paint this on one condition. And he was like, okay. I didn't know there were conditions. He goes, no, there's only one. Get rid of that stupid white steering wheel. So I pulled it off. We did something else. And I kept it all these years. So then last year now, because this is 2022, I mounted it on a plaque, and I gave it to him. And it's this old, crusty, nasty, rusty white steering wheel.
Old Grant steering wheel, man. And it's hanging in my office as we speak.
Yep, very cool, you know. So for the best painter in the world.
There's two things that people don't know about Jeff and I. Is notice the correct English used there, Jeff and I, not me and Jeff. Pretty good, huh? And anyway, it's two things that people don't know. And that one story is the story of the white steering wheel. The second is why I call him Tenwa, and he calls me OH10. He's from Iowa. I'm from Ohio. Now, use your brain. Ohio, OH10.
Eyes and O's.
Iowa, Tenwa. So now we got other people calling him Tenwa, but they don't know why. But
They don't know why.
so anyway, but I
He
am.
used to call the office, and this was back in the days when we had secretaries, and she would stick her head in my door and say, I don't know how to tell you this. I go, okay, what is it? He goes, some guy's on the phone. Okay, who is it? He goes, it's OH10. I go, I know who that is. And she looked at me like, was this some kind of code? No, it's very simple. But yeah.
But I do thank that Saturday afternoon that you came in my parking lot and introduced yourself and did that for me. I can remember what I was working on my cousin's '79 Corvette painting it pearl yellow, and you
at
walked
the time you had a green 69 Firebird?
70 and a half,
70,
400,
yeah,
pecker, pearl, lime green. Okay, and there was a custom mix by R&M for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's been another color named that. So
Well,
yeah.
probably not, for good reason.
But anyway, no, I still am painting. I still have a nice career, and due to people like Jeff and publications like Peterson and all those guys and Hot Rod and Carcraft and all of them. So we've had a really nice career and been very blessed with that affiliation, and it's really made my business. So anyway, so that's enough about me. I want to introduce you to a guy that I've known since, well, probably 77, somewhere in there. He's a fellow Dago, and I taught him just about everything he knows.
I forgot.
Okay, he has a portfolio of all my pictures that were in magazines. Okay, and then he had the gall, even though I was creating all my own work and designs, he had the gall to make friends with Kenny Youngblood and give Kenny room and board just for free renderings and ideas. So, but he ended up being an incredible painter. He did more stuff for Hot Rod magazine, more covers, the high-end race cars. I mean, I admired him, but seriously right now, I admired him for what he did. And a lot of it was on his own. Not much, but a lot of it was, okay? But, you know, he still had to do it, so I give him that credit, okay? It's like taking Mom's recipe for spaghetti. Okay, you didn't really create it, but you still made the spaghetti, okay? So anyway, he's ended up to be a good friend all these years, and he was one of the smart ones that got out of painting probably 35 years ago now.
Yeah.
Okay, and picked up the brush and the artwork and the fine art part of this industry, where you can travel with a little fish and tackle box with $12 worth of materials and make a really good living.
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
So he was smart enough and talented enough to do that. So I really admire him. Seeing the writing on the wall over 30 years ago in this industry and in the state of California, and said, adios, here I come, Idaho. So without further ado, my fellow Dago buddy, once whatever guy, okay, Mr. Jeff Scozzaro, better known as now Von Dago. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you might not recognize him. You got the picture with some hair? Okay.
Well, they came in here. They walked in. We had just finished the previous interview, and Santini goes, "Who is that?" And I went, "Oh my God!" You know, I mean, I'm halfway decent with. I told him, I said, if you had a picture of you next to your car, I might remember. Well, he pulls up the shot in front of his shop, and I went, "Oh my God! How long has it been? It has to be over 30 years."
That was 40.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's when after you left me, you went to him. You know.
I did a lot of paint corrections. Okay.
So I flashed back to something while we're sitting here talking, and early on when I became editor, we did a painting issue, probably in the April issue, I think. And I want to think, I remember the cover. It had like I want to say it had 6 different images of different things, but we had a custom pinstriped panel around it. And I'm thinking that you probably did that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we did a lot of painting out.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Before you were editor.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Long before that.
That was the
Long
kiss. That
before
was the kiss of death at Peterson. If your name got on the door, okay, 3 days later you were gone. Okay, so, but I have a Peterson story involving Jeff. Jeff had, like I said, closed his business down, but he still was hanging out, and he called me up and he goes, "Hey man, you got anything for me to do? We'll hang out and I'll do some work for you." I said, "Okay, cool." So he comes over and we're actually putting some graphics on a 914 Porsche. Okay, and we were using lacquers and base coats back then. And so he, I show him the thing, and he puts one color on, and he, I'm done. I said, "What do you mean you're freaking done?" He goes, "Well, we can't put tape on it till tomorrow." I go, "Dude, it's freaking lacquer. It dries in 10 minutes, So he goes, No, you're going to go with me, and I'm going to take you up to Hollywood to Peterson Publications, and I'm going to show you how to get your foot in the door up there. Now, I had already been doing stuff with Jeff and Barry Wiggins from Four Wheel and Off Road and all that, but I said, "Hey, Jeff, please, help me, my friend. You are such my hero, okay?"
I'm lifting my feet off the ground.
So anyway, we jump in the car and we go up there, and now Big Daddy Scozzaro over here, okay? Now he's going to take me, he's going to make me a rock star, right? And we go in the publication building, and and so he was good friends probably after with John Deanna, okay?
Okay.
So that's a little bit of a story in itself, okay?
It could be,
so,
yes.
Yeah. So anyway.
I knew Deanna before he became an editor.
Yeah,
He was still a
I know you
drag
did.
racer.
So he
was
knocks
drag
on
racing,
Deanna's
Johnny
door.
Junior Stock, and then Hot Rod hired him as a staff
with
writer.
Ripple.
And he had a column called Strictly Stocks, and and they hired him because he was a junior stock racer because it was a big deal.
Yeah, and I met him when he was in his magazine career, and he was called associate editor or something.
Yes, he had just started at Hot Rod. Yeah, Jim McFarland hired him. Yes.
So anyway, he knocks on Deanna's office door, and he pokes his head in the door, and the secretary's there, and he goes, "Hey, doll, how you doing?"
Oh my God!
Right. And she kind of looks at him like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Who is
right?
this guy?
She goes, he goes, "Is John here?" And she goes, "Can I ask him who's here?" And he goes, "Tell him Jeff Scozzaro's here." And all you hear from the back room is, "Who?"
Your nose is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
"I don't know no Jeff Scozzaro. Who the hell is that?"
Oh my God! I shouldn't have worn my sandals today. I should have worn my
Hey,
boots.
if that ain't the truth, hey, if that ain't the truth, may we have Pink's hot dogs at $100 today, okay?
Oh my!
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
Did he make you a rock star?
Oh, look at me today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
There you
That's
go.
right.
I got my
All
grandson Jaden here. He's
still
all proud of
working.
his papa, man.
You're
You know.
still working in retirement years, thanks
Yeah,
to
I know.
who
But
now?
you're living in a motorhome. I live by the beach. So okay. So. And I think the motorhome was rented. I'm not sure. Go ahead. Your turn.
That's okay. You're doing fine on your own. Go ahead. You're doing fine on your own.
This is a roast. That's what this is.
No, really, seriously,
It's a mutual roast.
they probably don't remember all the really, I'm serious now, the incredible work and the jobs and the high-end people you dealt with. Drop some names and do some stuff.
I gave Boyd Coddington his first ISCA entry blank.
Really?
I used to buff out Boyd's paint jobs when he worked in his 2-car garage in Cyprus.
Wow.
I'm proud to say that when I turned my shop down, I went to work for McMullen
Okay.
as an editor for a while in 82.
Yeah.
He called me up 3 months later. "Hey, what are you doing? Working for McMullen, blah, blah, blah. You belong behind a paint gun, not a typewriter." And I said, "Oh, man, I love it. I'm nice clothes, expense account and everything." He says, "Well, Jamie Musselman is going to finance me and open up my shop. I'm going to quit Disneyland and open up my shop, and I want you to be my first painter."
Yeah, because people don't realize he was a machinist at Disneyland.
He was a machinist at Disneyland.
Yeah, before he started his business, yeah.
And that's why I used to buff out his attempts at painting lacquer in his
Right,
garage, because he was scared of buffing it out. So he wanted me to be his first painter, and I says, "Man, thanks, but no thanks." He said, "Well, think about it." I said, "I don't need to think about it. But I'm done. I'm just tired of painting." So I believe I think he hired Terry Finch out of Michigan. I'm not sure. Okay. But then, of course, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Later on, I see he's on New York stock market. I see the publication. I tell my wife, "You think I fucked up?" And then here, when I moved to Idaho in '92, I get a phone call. I was custom sign studio then, and he says, "Hey, this is Boyd. Hey, Boyd, how you doing?" He goes, "What's this? I hear you're in Idaho." "Oh yeah, I'm in Coeur d'Alene. I'm trying to tell how beautiful it is, lakes and God country."
Yeah.
"Oh, speak no more." He goes, "I know where it is." "Really? You know about Coeur d'Alene?" "Oh yeah." He goes, "I'm an old Idaho farm boy myself." "You are?" "I never knew that."
I didn't either.
He invited me down to my next trip, so I went down, and here he has a whole city block. He's using a golf cart to go from building to building to building to building, wheels, upholstery, paint, everything. Yeah. And we go up into his office, which was huge. And he leans back in his chair, and I'm over there sitting in that chair, and he says, "So," he's leaned back. "So, you think you fucked up?" I said, "It's funny you mentioned that, boy."
Yeah. But
Yeah,
mention some of the. You did a lot of famous race cars,
Oh,
and
a lot of
funny
them.
cars and
A lot of
stuff
them,
like
yeah.
that.
Richard Petty flew me back to his place to repaint his 200th victory car that's now in the Smithsonian.
Wow.
I was showing your grandson
So the
pictures
car
of
is in
that.
the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
very
And I got
cool.
pictures of me sitting in it and stuff.
Excellent.
Just
hair?
a bunch of
With
races
hair?
with hair.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
with hair. And 100
Very
pounds
good.
lighter. Yeah, just a lot of famous stuff that he never got a chance to do.
I was too busy helping out the middle class.
Yes, yeah.
The 25th anniversary Playmate car from Chicago, Playmate Enterprises. Had Youngblood design it, and I painted it. This 55 Nomad with a Vista Cruiser top that Art Himzel and Mike Haas originally built.
Wow.
We painted that. Oh, geez, there's just so many.
Okay, you have to understand, his Playmate was really an underwear model for Sears and Roebuck catalog. Okay,
I'm teen, cover cars like Pete said. He had the same when he
Yeah.
came up
Yeah.
through the ranks.
Yeah. Have you ever counted up the number of covers that you've been on?
no.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. It has
no.
to be
I did.
hundreds, don't
Yeah,
you think?
yeah. I mean, we were
Yeah.
so blessed in the 80s and the 90s again that, there wasn't a time where we couldn't walk through the grocery store and there would be either something in it, on it, or an ad of a car we were involved in.
Right.
Marcel knows.
Yeah.
So it's been a really There's only been one cover that I ever got in hot water over, and it was with Truckin' Magazine. And somebody actually just put it on Facebook again the other day. I had a mullet, and it was like down to here, man. I look like an Italian cracker. Okay, so the Truckin' had called me up, and they go, "We got the typical girl with the schmuck with the paint on it and the spray gun and the airline setup thing, right? But we really think it'd be cool to have you on the other side of the truck, looking at her like see if she's doing it correctly, So okay, so I go down and we do the studio shoot, and I lean against the truck and I'm looking at her. So anyway, my son Nicky was probably about 10, 12 years old then.
Okay.
And he's going through the grocery store with my wife and goes, "Mommy, look, there's Daddy on the cover of magazine, and that girl doesn't have any clothes on." It's like, oh man!
Oh no!
So I get home, and my wife is like doing that wife thing, that look.
That look,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you say, "Is there anything wrong?"
Yeah,
No, it's fine.
Yeah. And I go, "Hey, it wasn't it's Jeff Smith. He's the one that got me into magazines."
it's all Jeff's fault.
It's all Jeff's fault. So I had to, kind of explain to her, look, this is the nature of our business. There's girls and cars,
Yep,
okay?
yep.
And sometimes beer,
Yeah.
okay? Sometimes all three at the same time. But, I said, it's just the nature of the beast,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
She has got a schmuck on,
Yeah.
but, nothing's hanging out
Yeah.
for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, it is what it is. You're living in a house this business is paying for.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it kind of eased it a little bit,
Tension came down a little
and I
bit.
told her what an aggravating time I had doing the shoot. How
Which people
I was
don't understand
Yeah, I was
how-
in misery. I was in tears. Okay, that I was just gone against the grain.
Yeah,
So anyway,
yeah.
that was.
I got something similar. Back in '74, '5, did a street chopper thing with a model,
man.
real live model.
Okay.
We used watercolors to paint flowers on her and stuff, and I even did it on the black bike, painted watercolors, flowers, and in the studio taking pictures. Well, just fooling around, I was painting her, and of course, out of her pubic hair, I painted a road with a guy on a chopper and stuff, you know, and just fooling around. The guy's shooting pictures. I'm laying there posing with her and stuff. 3 months later, when the magazine comes out, I forget who the editor was, comes to my shop, lays it on. She's on the cover, the bike and hers on the cover, watercolor painters. And he goes, turn the page such and such. It's going to surprise me. I open it up. He put me and her in the center spool doing this.
Oh, no.
And I had to explain that to my
That was your first alimony, wasn't it? Okay, yeah. Okay.
So one of the things I like to do is always assemble an engine with ARP bolts, and it's not just because they're sponsors, but because it really does work. And the stuff is fantastic. I never have to worry about it. Steve, you building cars too?
Yeah, actually, it's part of my baseline design plan when I'm building a car that's going to be shown or featured in a magazine. It's part of the plan to have that little bit of diamonds all over the engine bay or in the suspension.
Yeah, the stuff is beautiful. I remember a long time ago, I built the first time I ever touched it, 69 Z28. All of the water jacket holes had stripped out, and I learned about ARP studs.
So check them out at arp-bolts.com or check out their catalog. You'll find everything you're looking for.
There's another very little known fact. I'm disappointed that it's never came out in all the interviews that Eddie did, but I painted Eddie Van Halen's first professional paint job on his wild, crazy red and white crapola.
Yeah?
Because a protege of mine back then went high school friends with him, and he was bugging me to come up to Pasadena to see his buddy's high school band. It was called Mammoth. I'm not driving to Pasadena from Orange County to see some high school band. You know. So then he says, my buddy can't afford it. Would you paint his guitar? I've been bragging about you paint his guitar. He spray painted his. He wants one like it. Bring him down. Little long-haired, skinny kid, don't know from nothing. Didn't recall the name, you know. So it's all this zigzaggy stuff, and we're all looking at it like, oh my, like this. Hey, look at this, you know. And he brought his Frankenstein guitar. It looked like a junkyard guitar, you know. And he wanted it done. Real polite, real quiet, real polite. So we painted it in just a matter of like an hour. You know? Zim, zam, boom, done lacquer, clear coat it. Here you go. Be careful with it.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, following year or so, 2 years, I'm in the grocery store. And I'm going down with my wife, and I see on the magazine stand, Eddie Van Halen, the new Rockstars.
Yeah.
My guitar.
That's my guitar.
That's the one I painted.
Yeah.
It wasn't his Frankenstein. It was the one that I painted.
The one that you painted.
One I thought I painted.
Uh-huh.
And I grabbed my wife goes, fuck you. And I said, no, really, this is Jeff's friend. My friend, his name is Jeff Shear. And I said, this is Jeff's friend, his friend from high school. Do you remember me telling you? She don't remember from nothing. And she's walking down the aisle, and I'm chasing her down the aisle. No, really, I painted that. I painted it. Who would think to take pictures of this crap?
Yeah.
We've been used to it for 50 years now.
Oh, yeah.
That famous paint job.
All the stuff we don't take pictures of.
Who would think to take pictures? I was a kid in high school with a zigzaggy crap. You know?
Yeah.
Had no rhyme or reason.
Now, you know? He is the rock star, right?
Okay, well, to top that, he dealt with Eddie when Eddie was in high school and nobody knew his name. I personally had Michael Anthony come to my shop numerous times as I was painting his personal truck in the mid-'90s when he was already a rock star.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. Now. Michael Anthony came to my shop one time in his Corvette and wanted me to do the gold leaf Van Halen logo on his gas cap, and I couldn't do it lickety-split because you just showed up.
Yeah,
and you're Michael Anthony. I don't care who you are.
So you dropped everything and worked for me.
Well, he got all pissed off at his buddy who brought him, and off they went to his place.
Yeah, but see,
I told you this was going to happen.
We did numerous vehicles after that, okay? So I think you call that a return customer? Okay. Oh, by the way, did you get concert tickets first row? Oh, I'm sorry, I did. Okay. I'm sorry. I got concert, and I think I got some autographed posters that I actually just kind of gave away. Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Oh, God. Well, now, I did get Sylvester Stallone's autograph when I pinstriped his limousine. And I did do Elizabeth Taylor's yacht, Cleopatra, one of 3 that she had. Never met her, never got her autograph.
I forgot you were that old. Yeah, okay.
Come on, your turn. Let's go. Name drop your turn.
You got like at least a decade on me, don't you? Yeah. Because you're still, when she was in silent movies, is that correct? Okay, so. Got it.
I knew her when.
Okay. See, I'm talking about colors and talkies now. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then Jeff, I just had to tell him, remind him, because he didn't recognize me. I had to remind him. You were out at my house doing a cover for CarCraft. I got pictures of you on a ladder, taking this picture of a Pro Street Pinto.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
okay.
on Knight Rider episode.
Oh, okay.
And you were in my candy apple red go-karts at Jeff's place. I got a picture of you, you give me your address, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
I still have it in print form, you know.
Just send a Jeff Smith care of Tenwa.
Care of Tenwa. It'll find its
It'll
way
get there,
It'll
believe
get
me.
there. Yeah.
Well, see, there's 3 people here. Got to be him. Okay, yeah.
No, it's fun.
Because the town is
me and
very
Pico.
small. Very small.
I mean, every woman there is named Aunt B, isn't it? Yeah, okay, got it. Okay.
There's only like 3.
But see, even you forgot about me when I retired in '82.
Oh, well, you know.
Absence of the mind. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
What's that
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And
And
then, of course,
Someday
in 92, I
someday
became
we'll
on
really
Dago.
know why there was really a retirement at early stage of your life like
Well,
that.
we could tell it how Vinny.
No,
Bergman,
I wouldn't even speculate.
Vinny Bergman.
Okay.
There's no speculations. Vinny Bergman of Color Me Custom fame burned my shop down.
Really?
Because he
yeah.
had came to me and wanted to offer me at the time $50,000-$60,000 a year to run his place. Call it Jeff's place. He didn't care. He just wanted to make money.
Yeah.
I looked at my little girl's picture on the wall and I says, I can't. He says, why? I said, because I can't tell that little girl I work for Vinny Bergman. 2 weeks later, my shop burns down.
Wow.
The fire inspector says, pay attention to the first person that calls you. 7:30 in the morning, Sunday morning. Vinny, hey, drove by your shop. I see
What
the
happened?
Right? And then they caught the kid who lit the match, and he squealed like a little bird because he also burned somebody else's shop. I don't know.
Was it
who
Marinos or something?
I don't know.
think. Yeah, I don't remember.
And Vinny went to jail for like 18 months in Chino
Yikes.
men's prison for that.
Oh, man.
Because they caught him. But that's when I quit and went to McMullen because McMullen offered me the job. So
Yeah.
And then I moved to Idaho in '92, and you're out of the state. I'm out of the limelight with you two butt buddies, so what the hell, And I'm up there doing potato chops.
And you know what? We still are. Okay. One thing I have to say, we had mentioned how many covers, and it was such a blessing to be in an actual magazine. I mean, I'm sure I'm old now, and I may not be phone literate, internet literate, but I just can't look at magazines on my phone. I miss flipping the pages,
Yes.
marking the pages, cutting the
Yeah.
pages out for ideas. I just miss that whole personal relationship. It sounds kind of strange with a magazine.
I miss throwing darts at your picture.
Really?
That's what I miss.
Well, see, that proves that you were cutting my pictures out then. Okay, so
And I counted how many covers I was on. Happens to be 45. But
45.
Is that all?
Wow.
and I was a high riser in 75. And you were a high riser when?
Yeah, it was probably about 79 or 80.
78, 79, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know who to put in first.
Yeah, but like I said, you got 10, 12 years on me, so you had a way head start. By the way, what was it like brushing lacquer on back in those days? I mean, doing those Model Ts and rubbing out the brush strokes had to be a pain in the ass, man.
I'll tell you what, I am so old. I used to polish cars with baking soda and cornstarch.
Baking powder, baking soda, yeah.
And
Baking soda.
cornstarch.
Yeah, cornstarch.
Right. With the old wool pads, right?
Yeah.
And the smoothest sandpaper we had, and you can recall, was 600. 600.
Really?
And I had a 5-gallon bucket with a little dish soap in it, and I insisted it was law. Everybody put their old paper in there, and you could see through it practically.
Right.
We had to make our own smooth paper. It
Yeah.
was the smoothest we had.
Yeah.
And we used
Wow.
to polish everything, not clear everything, polish everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays, with what, 5,000 grit or
Oh,
something?
it's like notebook paper, man. It's like Charmin or something. Now, another thing we didn't have, I think the finest tape we had at the beginning was 3/4 inch.
Really?
Did we have? I don't remember 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch tape. I can remember my dad bringing some home probably in the late 60s and stuff. Yeah. But when my dad was painting and I started, I don't really remember any really skinny tape. And we definitely didn't have any of the upgraded.
There was no fine
And
line.
imagine
No,
doing
no fine
flame
line.
jobs with 3/4
Oh well, you
inch
look at
tape.
some of Watson's old pictures, and it's 3/4 inch tape.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and newspaper. You know,
No, we
So-
had quarter
so-
inch tape because we did all the vans.
Okay.
We did the van craze, so we did have quarter inch and the 1/8 inch.
Okay.
But no fine line, just masking tape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because when you did the flame job on my El Camino, this was a story that we were going to do in the magazine, and I don't think I've ever told you this story. So we're down there doing it, and you had a template, which was very cool, And this is great. And you took this, put it on the left side or the right side of the car, and then just flipped it over.
Yeah, because if you don't
So
have the skill to match it by hand, so sure.
no, that's called wisdom. That's called not charging customers for ridiculous time.
and laid this whole thing out. It was wonderful. And he's laying it out, and he's laying the colors and everything. And I'm looking at this and just going, this isn't very good. But I know enough to shut up and not say anything. And then so we got it all laid out. You sprayed it, and I'm thinking, I mean, I trust you. I've always trusted you. I will always trust
First
you.
mistake.
But and then Stanford came out.
Really?
And did the pinstriping for it. And it just went boom.
How'd it
was
go?
Unbelievable.
How'd that go?
Boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
a boom.
It was because it was green. And I thought, he pulled this green tape. I'm thinking, what are you doing? You're not going to put that on my car, are you? But again, it's like,
Yeah, apple green
Don't say it.
against red, man. It doesn't get much better than that.
and it just, it was literally, because I watched him freehand pinstripes the edges, and it just exploded. It just popped off the car, and I went, I'm sure glad I didn't say anything.
I
it
always
just showed my
compared-
ignorance.
I always compared, because I utilized a lot of really incredible pinstripers in my life. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to know a lot of them. I mean, I wish I would have been able to actually, Jeff was already gone.
Yeah.
We worked for a little bit for a while.
But I mean, because Jeff's artwork and pinstriping seriously is over the top. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. But I've always compared pinstriping to you buy an amazing oil painting, but you put the frame on it and then you hang it over the mantle, and
Yeah.
that frame just
Makes it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well, I analogize it to people like shoelaces on a shoe,
Okay.
buttons on a shirt. I mean, it just finishes it all.
Yeah, yeah. It was so magical. I mean, I don't have these guys' talent, for that kind of stuff. So I just trust that they know what they're
yeah,
doing.
but I can't build a big block, small block Chevy either. So
And
So-
I can't
and it
spell
was
worth
just-
of crap.
It was just so amazing to watch this thing transform while Steve is laying those lines out. It's just amazing. So
yeah,
that-
but
that-
you come to the shop and I go, Jeff, my kid's 350 is not working, and you go over and just kind of like lay your hands over the top of it. Okay, number one cylinder. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm feeling it. And then wait. Okay, one of the cams are flat. Okay. So we all have our thing.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly,
So
yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So,
But you know what's really
fun
great
stuff.
is that the old timers, even like meeting you again after all these
Yep.
years,
Yes.
the laughter, the memories, me
Oh,
and
yeah.
Pete, the laughter, the teasing, the respect. It's just, it's awesome.
Yep.
Absolutely awesome.
Yep.
when you come to this show in particular, this is the only car show that I actually come to as a spectator. And Jade, my grandson, has never seen the show. We've been expecting to spend all day looking at 9 beautiful buildings of cars.
Yeah.
And so far we made 5 and half of 4. Okay, we're
building
still
5
go-
and half of building 4.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're still
you're
going to
only
do
1.5
this
buildings
today
into 9
because I don't
buildings.
want him to go home and he tells his, my son, his dad, I just watch Papa talk all day. Okay.
Yeah, I have a friend who refuses to come to the show with me anymore because we get about 20
But see,
feet.
he can't get too mad at me because we just spent this week, besides making a whole lot of money painting the pedal car that they're going to give away or raffle off,
Yeah.
I painted his tank to his, what year is that thing? 74 Honda 550 that he's restoring.
Ah, cool.
And I did the candy tangerine with the black, and so I did that in 3 days, along with the pedal car. So that was my real prosperous week. Okay,
Hey,
so he can't get mad at me too much for watching me talk all day.
Plus, he meets your idol.
And
he meets your idol.
he meets my mentor. Okay.
And I buy him $100
Well,
lunch.
excuse me. He meets my
4
mentor.
hot dogs. 4 hot dogs.
4 hot dogs. Welcome to California. 4 hot dogs, 4 fries, and 4 waters. Ladies and gentlemen, you ready for this? In Missouri and Illinois and Ohio, $110. Okay. So, and it's not grass fed. Okay. And we don't even think it's beef. So,
And it was my turn too. You know.
So like I know that you've done probably dozens of SEMA cars. Is there a particular mad thrash SEMA finish deal story that's kind of fun?
You know what?
I don't think any of them are fun.
Marcel,
actually,
again,
at the time, they weren't.
Marcel knows because one of his best friends worked for me back in the 90s, especially when we were doing heavy SEMA. There was one year we were involved with 29 vehicles for SEMA in 40 days. Okay. I had guys come into my shop at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, they'd be walking down the street, and hey, come here. You want some pizza? What can you do? So
can you sand?
there were times where it was picking insane, and it finally got to the point where I guess it takes a while for some of us, even though we get old, we don't get wise. Okay, and there was a point where from now on, I'm getting paid when it gets picked up. I don't care if you're General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, Krager Wheels, whatever. I don't care who you are. Okay, and we're not doing this 4 o'clock in the morning crap anymore.
Yeah.
So it ain't worth it. Because at the end of the month of SEMA, you look at your
you're a
stock
wreck.
room. It is completely empty.
Blown up.
There
Yep.
was wasted razor blades and tape all over your shop. Half the stuff is missing because you don't know the guys that were working there.
Right.
And it's just and now you're waiting for your money. So you got to carry a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's been thrashes the whole time. But we were blessed. We still do have we did a Ford Mustang last year for Ford, for Keith Urban, the country guy. And I know you did Van Halen, but I did Keith Urban. But anyway.
And my guy's dead.
Well, there's that.
I forgot about that. Okay. But anyway. So we did that for Ford this year, and it was quite a challenge because it was an all Taiwan built. I won't mention the company, body and parts and moldings and rubber and clips and everything else.
And stuff that just didn't fit.
Didn't fit is not even a statement there, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, so we did that, but we've kind of last 5 years backed out of the SEMA thing because it really ended up not being, and it's such kind of it almost isn't worth it anymore. I mean, you go in there as a manual laborer, the painter, the upholstery guy, the engine builder, whatever. You don't get squat. It's a manufacturing show.
Yeah.
If you have something you can actually box up and ship out because a guy saw your car at SEMA, that's one thing. But you can't ship out paint jobs or pinstriping or lettering or upholstery jobs. So, it took me 30 years to finally go, okay, let's bring it down a couple notches. And
We'd like to introduce you to a new sponsor of ours. This is InTheGarageMedia.com. Some friends of ours that were in the print magazine business before and now started their own books. We got All Chevy Performance, Classic Truck Performance, and Modern Rotting.
Yeah, these are awesome books. They've got lots of educational and entertainment things in them, and they're even good enough quality to include Steve Strope quality vehicles.
Maybe.
He's
we'll
working
see if
up
I'm
to it.
allowed in there.
That's right.
I don't know.
So in the Garage Media, InTheGarageMedia.com. Check them out.
Check them out.
Get your subscription, sit and read it. And with ARP, it's not just a lot of intake manifolds, studs for heads, but they also have a humongous selection of American and metric that we use all throughout the car, even large bolts that we use on the suspension components because you want that same strength, that same durability and reliability, plus the beautiful looks.
And the stuff outside the catalog.
Right. They have a special order program where if you're a builder and you need some special stuff made, they can do that for you. So it's an amazing, amazing company to work with.
So check them out at arp-bolts.com or check out their catalog. You'll find everything you're looking for. But that's where the notoriety comes from, right?
Well, you know what,
That was in the beginning. That was important. Towards the end, not so much.
Well, again, though, the notoriety to me was the press.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't even the car shows like the RG Canning days. I mean, that was nice, but you got a couple thousand people to go through it in a week, and that's it. You talk about Hot Rod Magazine.
Yeah.
Okay, how many thousands are you reaching in a month, right?
Oh, well, at Hot Rod's zenith, at its pinnacle, we were a million circulation, a million paid circulation.
I'm getting 1 million viewers a month with one Jeff Smith photograph.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's only 2 guys that really could capture the pure color of the car, the real color. And they both have the last name Smith. One of them was Jeff Smith, and one was R.K. Smith.
R.K.'s really good.
Yes.
R.K. did the first article magazine on me in 1973.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
He was the first one on
R.K.
me. Yeah.
took a picture of my Pecker Green Firebird,
Yeah.
and it looked like Pecker Green when it got printed, man. So,
And that's difficult because what you don't know is when they're printing is that we ran into this all the time, that they would color balance the issue for the advertisings from that sequence of pages. So a lot of times it would be like, what happened to this? Well, we color balance for the ad, and we don't care what happens to the editorial. And it's like, so a lot of times it wouldn't come out nice. It wasn't because we didn't do anything right. It was printing issues or stuff like that, and that was oftentimes not. We had no control over
the
that.
last couple of years of actual press. I mean, now there's a couple more magazines out now, but I mean, the last few years of certain rod magazines.
Yeah.
The covers were so brutal, it looked like you took it with an Instamatic or a Polaroid. I mean, you're just going, holy smokes, man, that's a $200,000 build. And that car, there's no reflection, there's no shine. I don't even know what wheels are on this car. I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's coming back, though. We just did an interview with Brian Brennan from Modern
great.
Modding,
I saw
and
Brian last night. That's cool.
And Brian's doing a really good job, he and Nick, with All Chevy Books. So,
Right
yeah.
on.
And we talked about a little bit about that, but the paper is so much better now. They're spending the money on that
Good.
kind of stuff, and it really looks good.
Well, I think Steve Koonin kind of
Oh, yes.
his feet first
Yes.
with, okay, it's going to cost me money, and it's going to cost you from a magazine,
Yes.
but you are going to enjoy it.
It's
It's
worth
like
it.
buying a good pair of shoes, okay? You're going to be able to walk a lot longer in these without going, I can't go another step.
worth
Okay?
it.
It's worth the extra
Steve Koonin
bucks.
did a great job with
Yeah.
his book. Yeah.
Speaking of Steve
fantastic.
Koonin,
Yeah.
I was his cherry in the journalism world.
Really?
I think he either worked for Carcraft or Hot Rod. He worked for Peterson.
Yeah.
I was his first assignment.
Really? Really?
That's when he was actually writing all the articles out because they didn't have any kind of typing device back then, did they?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Stone chisel.
Yeah, we're still
right?
chiseling out.
See, that's the thing. But a lot of people don't know about my career. You
Yeah.
know, that there's just little tidbits here and there. You know?
Yeah. Because back in that beginning time, we were still typing stories out on typewriters, electric typewriters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which seems wholly archaic now, but yet that's how.
Well,
we were
you
doing
guys
it.
were using 2.25s back then too, which I still believe take some of the best pictures
Oh, absolutely, because your
out
image is
there.
so much larger.
Okay,
Sure, yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
But I remember at Truckin', and I helped a couple guys get jobs there, and basically it was like, you know, here's a electronic camera or whatever they called them back then.
Yeah,
and it was
digital
like,
camera.
just
Yeah.
go take some pictures.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
do an article.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, we
Anyway.
you know, part of it is not to bag on the current generation of magazines, but we had real budgets back then too, and Peterson gave us money to do some things that they just don't have the budgets for now.
Oh,
so in other words,
Barry Wiggins from Four Wheel and Off Road had a lunch budget. Believe me, okay. We would do some pick and forerunner or something like that, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he would come down. It would be like a simple 2-tone graphic, whatever it was like. Man, we got to stretch this in about a 2-week project. I mean, every day, Acapulco, margarita, and then it would be, I'll just come back tomorrow and we'll do some more. It's like, we ate good back then, man. Mr. Peterson, thank you.
Yes.
So Jeff, in other words, Peterson era was better to work for than the corporate when the corporate conglomerates were starting to buy.
And you know, the sad part is the quick answer is yes. The sad part is we didn't really know how good it was until it's the classic deal, or you don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore.
Right.
And working for a company where it was wholly owned by one man. Now there were some rules that we had to follow that the corporate things later changed and made it easier, but there were so many more other things where he really took care of us. And so
He was great.
So yes, he was a wonderful boss to work for. And the whole situation there was just spectacular. And what he did, why he was so successful, was because he learned very early on at the beginning, I hire enthusiasts, the kind of people I'm surrounding myself with to this day. You surround yourself with enthusiasts, they will work really hard and they will give you everything because they're enthusiasts, not because you're paying them whatever you're paying them.
like Gray Baskerville.
Yes, Gray Baskerville was just, dyed-in-the-wool enthusiast, and we did a little piece on Marlin We just lost Marlon a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, Marlon.
I remember
passed away.
when he first started.
Yeah, 77.
Yeah, I remember when he
as a
first
staffer.
started.
So we did a little piece for him as a memorial because he started 2 years before I did. And then he was at the end when they finally let him go because they've changed the company so much that I think he was the longest continuous employee. If you go back to Peterson, even though there were guys that worked for Mr. Peterson from like 1950 in through the 70s, Marlon was actually longer than that.
Pat Broiler.
Pat Broiler had been there forever, right?
Right.
But I think at the end, Marlon had the longest continuous employment with what was Peterson, if you count all the way through all the companies. So I didn't mention that in that deal, which is very important. So, but that was it. We were enthusiasts. And then the beauty of that was that we went out to shops like your guys' place and engine places and everything else and made friends with all these guys. And it's like we become lifetime friends and pick it up after 40 years, it's like, wow, this is really fun. Yeah. So we are blessed.
This is a smaller industry than people think. You come to SEMA and you come to the Grand National Show and you go, oh my gosh, this is the world. We're really nothing compared to the medical field, compared to this, compared to that. And so in this industry, you're saying how we all it's kind of like that old Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah, okay? 6 degrees of separation.
Jeff Smith, okay, well, he shot my car's brother's thing, and it's Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about having ill feelings about a fellow person in this industry.
Yeah.
And things will get back to you.
Yes.
And if you're going to be an a-hole, okay, and you're going to be sarcastic, and you're going to start bagging other people, then you know what? You're going to hurt yourself big time.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, even back in Jeff's days and my days, our car clubs were putting us. Yeah. We admired each other.
Yeah.
Okay, but our car clubs were putting us against each other. And then later in my life, there was an amazing painter that he knows, Dick Vale, and Dick was a good friend. We became good friends. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, he passed away years ago, but he was second to Bill Carter. Okay, and we would go to car shows, and my truck people would. And his truck people would have their trucks across from mine, and your painter's an a-hole, and his painter, and Dick Vale was better than Santini. And it's like, so one day, and Dick's shop was only like 2-3 miles from my shop.
Yeah.
So one day about 5:30, I take this old covered primer gun, and I drive over to his shop. And you have to understand, Dick's shop made my shop look like a hospital, okay? So, the booth doors wouldn't even close at Dick's shop, okay? But anyway, so I go in there, and he's by himself, and he hears somebody come in, which is me, and he goes, I'll be with you in a minute. What can I do for you? And I said, I'm looking for work. And so he goes, okay, what do you do? And I grab my old primer gun, and I hold it in front of me. He walks around the corner, and he recognized me. He goes, you SOB. And I go, hi, Dick. And I mean, at that point, we became very good friends. I mean, I still have an emptiness in my heart with him being gone.
Yeah.
And we became good friends. And it was so good. It was a good relationship because, all of a sudden, customers would basically in our area go to Dick or go to me. And it was like, he'd call me, I'm going, hey, some high roller just came by with a sand rail. Guy's an A. Okay, I quoted him 4,500, so hit him good. And so I would get a guy that came in and tried to scam the shop, and I'd say, watch out for this guy with this Corvette. He might be coming in. He doesn't pay the bill, blah, 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 blah. So it worked out really, really good for both of us.
That's great.
And what was really kind of funny was I'd be sitting in his office, and I'd be looking at all his magazine articles and posts, and I go, I got a picture of that car. I got a picture of that.
Yeah.
I got all those pictures. I got more pictures than you do of your work in my in my cheat book, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, there's your picture, So it was like perfect,
Yeah.
And I did the same thing with Jeff's stuff. I mean, because Jeff, I think all of us know that, first there was Watson, okay.
Mm-hmm. He was our hero.
Yeah. And then Carter, and then basically off of Carter, we all just took the blends and the butterscotch blends and the tequila sunrise blends and the magentas and the candy blues and all that clean linear work. We were talking, Jeff and I were talking earlier. You could take a Carter job from the 70s and put it in this show today, and you know what?
people would be
it
impressed.
still works.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
We're not talking about skulls and tribals and stencil work and texture. Guys today are getting way over textured. Everything's got to have patterns and textures, every color. No, you know what? Do a little thumbprint or do a little fish scale, but it doesn't have to be every color, man, you know? Yeah. And so that's why I admire about Billy's stuff and his stuff and Dick's and Baca and Billy B. There's a lot of heroes in my life that just 25, 30-year-old paint schemes can still work.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
that's like on Hot Rod's cover a month or so ago, the silver Chevelle with black and red and yellow.
Yeah.
I painted that originally.
Really?
The guy still owns it.
Uh-huh.
We went out to lunch a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And they did it as like a barn find.
Oh, the 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It still has my original paint job on it. I got pictures on my phone because I visited him last year out of display.
Excellent.
And I opened up the door, and it's got the stripes in the door jambs, both door jambs, front and back.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the striping and gold
that
leaf striping. And I'm saying, these kids today are like, you know, check out my door jambs, and like, hold my beer. I was doing this before you were born, right? And then, but when we went out to lunch with Mark Abbott, that's who owned it.
Yeah.
I says, hey, Mark, what did I charge you for that car? This was in like 76. He said, $1,500. And I had to take a loan out then because he was only in high school back then.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was really cool about that car is because his grandfather bought it originally.
Really?
Gave it to him. He's the second owner. Has had it ever since.
That's fantastic.
Still owns it. Still
owns
drives
it. Yeah.
It's a Pro
Neat
Street.
deal.
You know
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of door jams, Marcel knows it's a pathetic world, okay? It is an evil world of doing door jams. That's why I admire lowrider painters. Those guys are heroes. But I have a quick door jam story, and then I got to go because my union said I'm overtime, and you guys aren't paying, okay? We're doing this for free, by the way, okay? So,
Which is rare for either one of us, by the way.
But anyway, back again in the 90s when we were doing a lot of trucks, there was a company called Trends Manufacturing, Doug DeBerti, and I did all of his rigs, all of his crew cabs, anyway, he loved turquoise and magenta and black. That was his favorite colors. So he brings me this brand new Suburban at the time, and I do my typical graphic thing on the side, and I run the graphics through one door jam, okay? And he sends his guys down to pick it up. He was all the way in Bakersfield, and we're in Westminster. And so he sends us, Marcel's got no, it's not that one. It was the actual Suburban, the black Suburban. Okay. And so anyway, he sends the guys, and they drive all the way back. So I get this phone call like 3 hours later. It's like, dude, what the hell's up? And I go, what's the matter? He goes, you only ran the graphics through one door jam. I said, how many doors do you open at a show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he goes, are you kidding me? I go, no, just open the one door.
You know what Vinnie Bergman would say? Oh, you wanted the other door jam. Oh. That's another $500.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcel.
So when the car got to the show, and I'd kind of known that Pete had done this little trick on Doug, I walked up to Doug and I said, let me check out and I knew that it was the passenger side that didn't have the graphics running. So I said, dude, did Pete run through the door? He goes, no, don't open that door.
Don't open that door. Whatever you do, don't push the red button. Yeah.
So anyway, I want to take my grandson, to see the rest of the show. We've been here since 9. I love doing this. I will do this anytime you guys invite me back.
Okay.
And maybe just bust through the door when you don't invite me anyway.
There you go.
Hopefully when it's somebody big time like Troy Ladd and Steve Strope, okay, where I could really like to interrupt them, okay? So,
How's your lunch budget?
you know what? I think, besides, I think if we can get Jeff come back one more time, we can do better than that pizza, okay? Yeah.
So this has been a lot of fun. We're at the Grand National Roaster Show. This was completely unexpected to see this gentleman after all these years. This was really a treat. So we're at the Grand National Roaster Show. We're having a great time. I hope you enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun. My buddy Pete Santini, we've known each other way too long.
And the guy he forgot.